about your weekend plans in the comments field below. Like, share, and follow at #JMoreWeekend. I'm Amanda. This is Simone. We are joined today by transgender activist Abby Stein. Hi, Abby. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
I'm just in awe of your courage because you've done a ton in a very short period of time.
Thank you.
I know I'm not supposed to go all gaga, but
not as big as gaga. That's not what you're saying, right?
No.
Okay, good.
So you've done a lot. You did. Okay. So first you left the Hasidic community. You became a woman.
I was always a woman.
Okay.
I came out as a woman.
Right. Got it. And you learned English, by the way. So you had to do all of that. That's a ton.
That is a ton. And you're how old?
I'm 26. I like to say I'm a baby with a baby.
Well, yeah.
You are.
That's 'cause you are.
That's like 3 lifetimes right there.
To me, it's just my life. Here's an interesting thing. I think like people always think that it's a lot, but it just feels like it's who I am. And I think like to some extent I'm guilty of that as well because my blog is named The Second Transition. It's if like I did one and then I did a second. Yeah. But in reality, it's just one big life and one big transition and one big just trying to live a life that is real and authentic and works for me.
So was any of that like particularly the most difficult aspect? Was it all, do you just put it all as like one big change?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a change. What should I say? I think it's just we are all trying to figure out our lives. We're all trying to find ways to live a life that's authentic to ourselves. And sometimes that includes just doing your own thing, and sometimes that includes going through a lot what we call changes. But in reality, like I don't see that as there is like me 10 years ago, me 5 years ago, me 2 years ago, and then me now. It's just me. It's just trying to live my life. And yeah, I know, I'm very much aware. I'm going to be stupid if I'm going to say, oh, no, it's nothing. It was, I just grew up and naturally I ended up where I am. That is not accurate.
Right.
But at the end of the day, and I think that's also important because people like to exoticize something that's different. Oh my God. But I think at the end of the day, it's just who we are. And I think we all go through transitions. We all go through change in our life.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm still not quite sure what I want to be when I grow up.
Don't grow up. That's the point. Yeah, don't grow up.
I'm not growing up. So did you deal with anything as a woman now that you never expected to encounter or that sort of surprised you that you you just never even thought of? You didn't take it into consideration at all?
Unfortunately, the biggest part of that is sexism and harassment.
Yeah.
I was a feminist since I was really young. I got into trouble with my father when I was like 12 years old for like not understanding why the girls have to do everything at home and the boys just sit around and don't do anything, don't cook, don't help prepare meals and so on. However, there was nothing that could have prepared me for that. Like the fact that I have to think 3 times before going out after 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
Why? And I'm talking in New York City. Forget about, I don't know, the terrible South, as we like to say, in the Northeast of like the South. That's where all the problems are. No, even in New York. And like the fact that people take you less serious as a woman. I've seen it on my own skin. I don't think anything could have prepared me for that. That was a hard time. I think the rest, I kind of had a sense. Like, to some extent, I always say leaving the Hasidic community was harder in the sense of not knowing what I'm getting into. By the time I transitioned, I had, like, over 3 years on the internet. I knew a lot of the parts of physical transition. I knew a lot about clothing. I sucked at man's fashion. I don't like looking on pictures of me before, but if you want to go back and look, and I also know from my friends who were like, you were terrible. I don't know if I'm perfect now, but I'm very much aware that it's a lot better. Whatever. So I'm just saying I did kind of knew what I was getting into. I did enjoy it. It was something that was almost easy for me. I think like I did like another thing that I maybe didn't know was like how intense mood swings get hormonally. But it's something that I don't want to talk a lot about that because I don't think we should. I don't think that's what womanhood is in any way. It's not about that. I also think it's not what womanhood is. So I think like there's definitely some physical parts and some emotional parts that you can try to prepare yourself as much as you want. At the end of the day, you can't do it. You can't have everything. You can't like prepare for everything. But yeah, the biggest part that I really didn't prepare was like sexism, harassment, and these kind of things, which really, really surprised me.
Yeah, I kind of feel like all men should have to live as a woman at some point.
For a while.
Just
To know. Yeah,
to
exactly.
get it.
Right.
Then it would probably change everyone's perspectives.
Yeah.
So you've been on a whirlwind tour. You're super busy. You're probably the busiest person I've heard about in a long time. You're getting lots of recognition, which is great. We know you were at Bethel Center last night. How did that event go?
That event was actually amazing.
Yeah?
It was hands down one of my biggest smaller events, meaning I've been to big conferences with thousands of people. That's a different tier. It's a different category. But in terms of like events that were just like, that my name was in the event description and so on, there was about like 240 or 250 people. It was an overpacked room.
Wow.
What I really loved was the amount of engagement from the audience. Like, I'm usually quite, I always try to get the people engaged. Like, I do like always like experiments and activities with the audience. Like last night, for example, one thing that I did was about culture. I asked 5 people if they can give me an example of what they identified as culture growing up. We got the Beatles, we got Sesame Street, and a few other things that I legitimately don't know until today what they are, which are just like things that that people know culturally. And so I used it as an experiment and as a way to engage people. But at the end of the day, like last night ended up being amazing in terms of so many people were like telling stories, so many personal stories at the event, at the Q&A, and then like after that, when I was speaking to people one-on-one, there were people from totally Orthodox, even the semi-ultra-Orthodox, who are going through something like that in their own lives, to people who are totally secular.
It's incredible that they even come out
I mean, they didn't speak about
engage. That's
exactly. Like, there's definitely
that
a lot has definitely changed in the world.
Yeah,
you should have come. Where were you?
Well, she knew she was going to meet herself today.
Yeah, but still, I wish I had come. Yeah.
No, that's incredible. All right, so the Vogue fashion shoot was super cool.
Oh yeah.
So I hear. Yeah.
How did that come about?
So here's the thing. So in that Vogue photo shoot that I just did. The picture that they published, I am wearing some clothes, I believe. I'm wearing shorts and a bra. However, what I tell always people that's very important, we're shooting for about, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours. So most of the time I was fully clothed.
Okay.
It was only towards the end, and it took me a while. Like I had a lot of feelings about it, and I think like there's some bad things to it. There's definitely been a lot of in the media and in general in our culture of over hypersexualization of trans women. But at the same time, there's also been so many stereotypes and so many negative connotations and negative like understandings of what they are, and like at the end it felt really good to be able to show this is who I am. I don't care what people have to say. This is who I am. I think we are all beautiful the way we are, and I want to show that to everyone.
And it worked. I mean, own it, right?
Thank you.
And it looked good. And
thank you.
Beautiful shot. It's a great feature that they did. I mean, everyone else. Were you friends with someone else that was in that?
So I actually did the casting for it, kind of.
Oh,
I got all of the other people. So it was a project where they had a total of 5 women who left the Hasidic community, the ultra-Orthodox community.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's
but
Who else was in that?
There was a few other. There was one other girl that's like a bit like also like a bit known. She's an actress. Her name is Melissa Wise. And then there's the other 3 were mostly people. I mean, I don't know if any of them have done any media before that. So I posted about it. I got about 12 people, and then we narrowed it down to these 5 people with the help of Vogue. Yeah, but I totally did the casting.
What's that book that I've read? She's written 2 books. I know she studied at
Deborah
Sarah
Feldman.
Lawrence.
No.
Okay.
She lives in Germany by now, I think. So yeah.
Okay.
All right, so stay here with us for a second.
Sure.
Everyone out there watching, if you have questions for Abby, she's here to talk to you. She wants to hear from you. If you just got here, you're watching J Moore's Weekend Agenda on Facebook Live. Tell us what you're doing this weekend in the comments below. Like, share, and follow at #JMooreWeekend. We're here with transgender activist Abby Stein. Ask her a question. Tell her what's on your mind. Let's hear from you. Abby, we need to quickly run through some of the top events of the weekend.
Go ahead.
Just hang out with us for a minute, and we're going to do it. Have you had a chance at all to explore Baltimore?
I got here exactly, like 20 hours ago, and I'm leaving in an hour, so unfortunately not much.
You'll have to come back and see how cool it actually is
Listen,
here.
invite me back, and I will come back.
You're invited back. We want you to come back and hang out with us.
Okay.
All right, Simone, quickly do this.
Okay, so all weekend long, There's School of Rock at the Hippodrome, and this is Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical based on the hit Jack Black film. It includes 14 new songs from Webber, plus the original movie songs, and it's all weekend, including tonight at 8 p.m. You can also read an interview with one of the show's stars, Theodora Silverman, at jmoreliving.com. Now, on tonight, just Friday night, that's tonight, stay amped at the Anthem. Fall Out Boy and other bands perform this benefit to end gun violence. Doors open at 6:30. Well, that's good timing.
The money's going toward the march.
Yes, okay. There's also Art After Hours at the BMA. Dance under the glow of Spencer Finch's light installation, Moondust. There'll also be a spirits tasting with the Baltimore Whiskey Company. And this is from 8 to 11, and it's 21 and older. Saturday, the Magic of Life Gala at the Meyerhoff Symphony Hall. Comedian Dana Carvey from Saturday Night Live and Wayne's World headlines the gala. The event also includes cocktails, appetizers, and a dessert social, and that starts at 6. Then we've got Maryland's famous Fabulous Fair at the Maryland Historical Society. Get into Maryland Day spirit with a celebration of regional cuisine, traditional dishes, and cocktails that are important to our state's history. What cocktails are important to our state's history?
I don't know. Pikesville Rye? I don't know. That's
right.
my guess. Go
Anyway,
ahead.
okay, 6:30 p.m. and cocktail attire. Then we've got the biggie, March
Yes.
for Our Lives. In addition to the D.C. March for Our Lives, there'll be a March for Our Lives Baltimore version.
There it is.
Students and families will hit the streets at Baltimore City Hall at 10 a.m. to demand an end to gun violence and mass shootings.
So, Abby, are you going?
So I'm actually going down to DC. So I'm speaking at Georgetown University Jewish Student Life tonight. I'm doing like the Friday night sermon or whatever that's, and then a text study that I named Shabbat dinner. Kind of, and then the subtitle for the name was "With the Side of Gender Awareness," which is the part of the meal. Then on Saturday, I'm going. I'm going to the march, which should be really great. I'm going with a group of Columbia students who are coming through Hillel. So Hillel International is actually kind of hosting a lot of students who wanted to come. They're hosting them at the Hillel International headquarters. They're giving meals and so on. Nice. Then on Sunday, I'm doing 3 sessions at the Own It Summit, which is a big conference with about 800 to 1,000 people, also at Georgetown.
Wow.
Excellent. You have a busy weekend again. So on that topic, we have several high school and college students who will be attending the march. They're going to send in live updates throughout the day, so be sure to go to jmoreliving.com all day tomorrow to get the latest news on the march. We've got students ranging from 9 through 20,
Great.
So it should be really great. You can send me some updates if you feel like it.
We'll see if I get to that.
Sure. Okay, what are you doing for Passover?
What am I doing for Passover? Okay, so the first night I'm still a bit undecided. I have a lot of options. I've been invited to a lot of more let's call them community or bigger meals that I've not decided which one I want to go to. Yesterday I started realizing there might be a chance I will be even in New Haven. I don't know. I'm undecided the first night. The second night I'm definitely doing, there's the rabbi at Columbia always does a small thing on the second night, so I will most likely do that. There's a chance I will cook and host the lunches on the first 2 days. I love cooking. I love doing that. If anyone wants to check me out on Instagram, 2 years ago, I hosted a whole Seder. I cooked a 5-course meal.
Whoa.
I really enjoy doing that.
What's your go-to Passover dish?
I really like matzah meal pancakes.
Okay.
They're easy to make. It's what I use is matzah meal, eggs, salt and pepper if you want, usually just salt. You mix them up, you fry them, they're delicious. Obviously, if you're even more lazy, you can do matzah brai, which is also really easy.
Brai.
Obviously, I love matzo ball soup. I love kind of schnitzel, but made with matzah meal. So instead of breadcrumbs or whatever, use matzah meal, which is also really delicious.
Okay, we're coming to your place. We'll be at your Seder.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm hosting a Seder yet, but if I am, I will let you know.
You're hosting and we'll be there.
Another thing that I also love is, so my family actually doesn't eat fish on Passover.
Okay.
Which is, I'm not going to go into why, but that's the custom.
That's because I hate gefilte fish.
Which ones?
the jelly stuff.
They are gross.
Yes.
Don't eat the
Super
kids.
gross.
It's delicious.
No, don't eat the
Ugh.
jarred ones.
No, it's
they're
horrible.
like heresy. You gotta eat like the loaf ones, the ones that you
Yeah.
buy
Never
like
seen
almost
a
raw.
loaf
Oh, yeah,
of
those are
the
They are
Bethel.
delicious. No, if
It's
you eat the
good?
jarred one, it's delicious. You buy them almost raw and you cook them at home. You eat them with good horseradish. They're delicious.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
so my family has something that we call falsche fish, which is fake fish in Yiddish. It's made out of ground turkey. And it has a very similar texture and a bit of a taste of gefilte fish, but it's delicious. It looks like meatballs, and it's actually meat. Obviously, it's chicken, and it's delicious.
You should send us that recipe, and I can add it to our recipe database.
I would totally do that.
Do it.
I can totally
will
send
add
it to
that.
you.
Abby
Good. I will
Stein's
send it to
fake
you.
fish recipe.
I will
Love
send it to you.
All right. Before we leave, is there anything else you want to tell the good people of Baltimore or your friends? Anything?
Good people of Baltimore. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about Baltimore, to be honest. I mean, it was good. It's the second time I was here in the last 2
I know
months.
you've been here. You're kind of a
I was
regular
here
now.
last
I'm
month.
just going to adopt you at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
You're
used to it. I
honorary.
travel a lot. But in general, I think there's a few things I think people first and foremost should be more aware. Like, I'm really grateful for the amount of awareness that we have already accomplished, but it's important to do more, like share stuff. Like, you don't even know how important it is to be vocal about things. Like, even like, how about anyone who watches this? Try to share this video.
Share it.
You would never know who there could be a friend, a family member who is watching you on Facebook and is like, oh, I guess this friend, this family member, I can trust. They are supportive to LGBTQ people. Do that. You accomplish a lot. Also, to give
great.
a total shameless plug, check me out on Facebook. I have a public Facebook page, but it's like cool blue check. And Twitter and Instagram. My Twitter and Instagram are both the same. It's Abby Stein, so it's ABBYCHAVASTEIN.
Okay.
Check me out. I always say I'm very stalkable, so stalk
All right,
as
we
much
will
as
stalk
you want.
and we'll tell everyone else how to
And
stalk you.
good,
here.
beautiful, and just thank you all for being. That's been my latest thing. Like,
I love
it's like
that.
we are so much just by being who we are.
I love
Oh,
that.
I should
And
also add that we do have an interview with Abby coming out in the April issue of James.
So I hear.
look for that.
look for that.
Yes.
And I know one of your quotes I've seen was "You're never shutting up" or "You're not ready."
Refusing to shut up. That
I
is
love
very
that.
important also, because a lot
we're
of
big
people
fans of that.
a lot of people just always tell me, you're happy with your life, you're in a good school, just move on and stop talking about like your past and like Hasidic life. And I'm like, I don't think, for me, when I talk about my past, it's not about going back, it's about moving forward. But it's important. The fact that I see how much it has changed, the fact that most people in the Hasidic community didn't know 3 years ago that trans people exist, and most people do know now, just shows how important that is. So yeah, I'm refusing to shut up. And I think that it's true across the board. I think a lot of people now, with all the students like protesting gun violence and marching tomorrow, so many people are like, just let it, like, don't talk, don't scream so much.
No.
But it's important to
We need that.
refuse to do that. Don't shut up.
Exactly. Don't shut up. You have been watching JMOR's Weekend Agenda. Join us here Fridays at 12:30 for more weekend plans, and follow us at #JMOR Weekend. Thank you, Abby Stein.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
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 Good weekend.